7 o'clock, I'll call this meeting of the Common Council to order. If you can please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll move next roll call for Treasurer Aldrich.
Carolyn Pearson. Present. Brian Garrison.
Here.
Richard Traeger.
Present.
Dale Seward.
Here.
Mike Shockley.
Present.
All right, the council's been presented with the minutes from the August 7th regular meeting. Are there any additions, subtractions, deletions, or amendments to be made to this set of minutes?
I move that the August 7th minutes be approved as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We'll move next to reports from committees, boards, commissions, and departments. Are there any questions for our department heads or for the mayor? Hearing none, we'll move next to the report from the Area Plan Commission. Councilman Seward?
There was nothing that, it was pretty much a standard meeting. However, we were asked to review in regards to the Hoosier Heartland overlay, the application or future permit application of a convenience store out by the True Value. And we took a vote on that, and everybody agreed that that would be a good addition, so that passed through.
Thank you, Councilman. Do we have any questions for the councilman? All right, hearing none, we'll move next to...
I would like to, I'm sorry, I forgot. I wanted to ask about the Board of Aviation Commissioners. I noticed that we now have a new airport manager, this Jason Hart.
Yes, ma'am, it has been for
A while.
since the beginning of the year, if not a little before that.
Oh, I didn't think, I thought that Creek.
Creekmore was there until November, December of last year.
Oh, I had never seen the change on that, but, because I saw it on television one night saying, well then, also then that Jeff Stanker resigned, so we need to appoint a new person.
Yes, ma'am, and I've taken recommendations from the Board of Aviation Commissioners. There's I can't remember the lady's name at this point, who's an avid flyer. That's something I would need to do before the next meeting.
Okay, that's my question.
I had one question on your report. Who is intern gear?
Emily Gear was interning with the city over the summer, so she was interning with both the County Chamber of Commerce and then the city. She split days of the week.
Is that Scott Gear's daughter? Or?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions for Mayor Department heads? All right, we'll move next to the report regarding Community Center. Councilman Seward, Shockley, Pearson, Ms. Daly.
I have put together some things for you to keep and refer to, and here, I'm going to pass this around to
Thank you. There's one copy for you.
I have a copy, thank you. So it's basically, the first page is monies coming that have come in, monies that have gone out or on the verge of going out. And since we're constructing the building in phases, what we have to work with for phase 2, which we will be soon hopefully heading into. It's phase 1. If people have noticed, there's been a delay on completing due to the fact that there was a issue with the doors. Gray Wolf ordering the doors and them not coming in, and several requests and like getting nowhere until he just had to cancel that order, reorder the doors. And apparently because the building has, the capacity of the building is 111 people, the doors are required to have security features on the doors, which that's what's, in part, it's causing the delay because it's a specialty order. And therefore, once he gets the doors in case anybody has, drove by and wondered like what's going on, and maybe not as bleak as you might think, but that the doors will go up and the building, the first phase of the building will be completed. And so I've just kind of like broke down like where we are now, so you can simply refer to the current procedure we're working under, which is 3 phases, and this is based upon donated labor, not having to pay for labor. And I still very much would like to take this opportunity to impress upon the council the urgency and the necessity of getting into the building by November 1st, and this being September. I felt like I wanted to present this to you and possibly discuss any other viable option. I know it's been mentioned about forming a foundation, but we are already, for a council on aging, of which part of the area for all across the state, we're working on such hardships because we don't have a building, and I'm not able to adequately monitor, or we are not able to adequately provide for the seniors and the activities, wellness checks and all that, and meals, which we're not adequately providing because I was told by Area 4 that they should be served daily, but we cannot do that without a kitchen or a building. And we struggle to do it once a week because we don't have a kitchen or a building. But I really feel there's a present urgency that we do keep at the target date of November 1st to get into the building, at least to the point of a functioning, workable condition that we can get in. So, thank you.
Brenda, you mentioned to me one time applying for a Carroll County grant, didn't you say that?
Carroll County? Well, I applied for the North Central Health Services.
Yeah, I knew
and
that,
one got-
but I thought you.
United Fund.
It was
Oh,
United Fund.
United
okay.
Fund, okay,
Okay.
yeah, well, what that was, is actually, the Carroll County United Fund, they are one of the sources that we apply to every year for operational expenses. And I did go speak to them as, so usually what that's scheduled, I usually know about it the day of. So far, since the 4 years I've been in this position, I've found out about it the day of. I believe Councilman Seward, you had approached them about
Yes.
funds. That, I'm trying to remember, I don't have my planner with me, but the evening that I had to make a presentation before them, I was told to just strictly present as normal, not make a presentation on behalf of the city of Delphi, which this would have been for the City of Delphi Community Center, but strictly for the operational funds that we routinely request, and that would be held as a separate issue and dealt with. Did Councilman Seward, did you receive any sort of response on that?
We received a response that they did not have the funds to follow through with that right now.
So therefore, as far as the building, no, as Councilman Stewart stated.
We will push forward and try to see what is the next process for the foundation type situation and see what all's involved in that. We'll try and have that as quickly as possible, see what we can come up with on that.
I found out tonight, when they first ordered the doors, they did not know that they needed the push bars on them.
Oh, okay.
And so therefore, they had to go back and remake the doors. In order to put a push bar on the door, they have to put a solid piece of wood in there for both of them. And I found out that the doors, they got a call from the maker, and the doors should be in sometime this week. And if they're in this week, we could probably get them put up hopefully by this weekend, or the first next week. Jeff and I are going to work on that to get it done for the center. And then the next project, next stage is the electrical. We've got the box located where we wanna put it. We've also got the outside, meter base basically set where we're gonna be, not set yet, but basically set up where we want to put it. What we will have to put around it and everything to protect it. But that's where we're at right now. All the water lines are in, all the drain lines for the sewer, except for Dick hooking up underneath the street there. But we're at the stage where now we're getting ready to start in on the electrical as soon as we can do it. Basically trying to get the doors so we get phase one done.
On the 3-page handout that, thank you, on the 3-page handout that I gave you, I also provided our projected plans or proposals to get through stage by stage, which with the monies that we know or anticipate. And we look like phase 2 is, we're okay. And then if you read all the way through that, you see where we are at getting to the completion of the building, minus the parking lot, provided we can continue labor free. But anyway, I just wanted to show you where we are. So it puts us at, anywhere, I think, from 37 to get to completion into phase 3, I don't know why I keep saying stage, sorry, which was projected to be at cost $50,000 to $60,000. Jeff, are you still saying?
I haven't seen the number you're using today.
Here we go. This is this that you handed out at one of the meetings.
Oh, I knew it was gonna be something like that, okay.
So $50,000 to $60,000, which in that phase 3, I did write a grant, which we were awarded for the cabinets and the sinks, and that's a $3,500, so we can deduct that. And of course, Bacon Fest, this was the best year yet for Bacon Fest, with over 10,000 people and large ticket sales. So that's going to help us. That's going to be the biggest thing at this point, helping us into stage 3. But anyway.
I would like to say something. We have a volunteer electrician who said he would help with putting in all the electrical work at no cost. We just got to provide the materials, and he will, if he's got to help. I have set up 2 other guys to come in and help me with him. Because we'll be putting in boxes and running all the wire just as soon as it comes in.
And I had referred him to you, Jeff, as far as when to coordinate that and what time will be.
I think Mike and I is gonna set the box and the meter base and get all that done this week, and then hopefully turn it over to somebody else. If anything I can find someone else to deal with, let them do, and I'll do something else.
True.
Move on to something else. Yeah, that's where we're at. And then after that, we need to get we're working on quotes for the insulation, and then we'll start hanging drywall. Drywall is a very forgiving product. You don't do it right, you just put a little button and fix it. So you can use volunteers hang drywall, as long as you get enough screws in. I don't care how you do it, just get enough screws in. But that needs a lot of labor. Might be able to find some people to help hang drywall, especially, it's a big building. You're hanging them tight enough, it's not too, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to hang drywall.
So you've been working on phase 3 as well?
Yes. Do we have any questions for any members of the Community Center Committee? All right, we'll move next to unfinished business. First item being discussed is zoning assignments for unassigned properties. You've been presented with proposed resolution 2017-7 titled recommendation of zoning designations for properties within city limits which have not been assigned city zoning designations. At the last meeting, this discussion was tabled to allow for research to be done on urban agricultural zoning designations and to follow up with property owners after that research and any further discussion. Are there any amendments to be made to this resolution, any discussion about this resolution, or the recommendations in general?
I have a question. Have you contacted everyone on this list?
I sent letters to everyone on that list, minus I did not send it to DNR, who owns the property on East Main Street. There may have been a couple others that were obvious, or I can't remember. I have to go back and look at the list. I can go back and look on my computer and see who all I sent letters to.
Did you ask if they would want to join the meeting, have a meeting to find out exactly where we're at on this and everything?
No. I asked them to contact me. They should have received, prior to the Area Plan Commission meeting, taking this under advisement, they should have received notice that there was a public hearing. Then, I believe that was at the June APC meeting, and I sent letters out that we were having this meeting last month. I didn't send anything for the meeting, the continuation this month.
Okay.
Just for the public's knowledge, you do say, or Mackenzie says, she's researched the issue of taxes, and says that the county assessor assigns a taxing category or neighborhood code to properties based on the use and how the lot is developed primarily. As the council members are aware, the acreage usage and appraised value are the driving forces behind the tax amount. You can have a property zoned ag, AG, but be taxed as a residential due to the use of the home site. Therefore, changing various properties from AG to U1 or vice versa will have no impact on the taxes of said property. So taxes was something that was brought up the last time, so
Jeff Watson brought it up.
so that the public would know what we were told. And then the grandfathering in is also,
Legally non-conforming.
so, on this resolution, you have presented the 7th day of August. Are we going to change that date in the, tonight is the date that we're going to do it rather than 7th of August?
Yes, ma'am, we would need to change those dates, and we'd probably print out a pretty copy so that we can keep it in the clerk treasurer's office, and we can, those changes can be made rather quickly.
Did anybody in the audience have some comments? Yeah.
Remember, Doug's not here tonight, I think.
No.
At the APC meeting, when Doug says the taxes would not change, and the lady brought up the stack, he said, I'm sorry, they would change. That's my concern with my 5 acres, so taxes will change.
What was the?
I don't want to pay more taxes just because you're changing the designation on it, U to U1. And he said, no, it would not change. The lady brought up the fact, he says, well, I'm sorry, you are correct, it would change.
I don't know her specific circumstance, if she was using it as a U1 as opposed to an ag at that time, or vice versa.
So that's my question. Well, are you going to assure us that the taxes won't change?
I can't assure you that. I can't assure you that your assessed value won't go up just based on market rates. I can't assure you that if you change your use, that the taxes won't change.
Remember that Dale at the meeting?
Yeah, but I can't remember what the criteria was for what she brought forward.
I know she brought it forward. Doug said, I am sorry, you are correct.
Yeah, but I
It would
can't
change the
remember.
taxes, would change her taxes, would go up.
I can't remember what that criteria was though.
See, I didn't know, see, I've got 5 acres of ground, and I'm paying hardly anything taxes on it, it's ag or whatever, and now it's gonna become a building, U1. Is it gonna change it dramatically? And I don't feel like I
Well,
should
if
pay
you-
more taxes just because they didn't do it right 10 years ago, or 20 years ago.
Are you putting a building on?
I'm talking about if I don't do anything, is the taxes
Okay.
gonna triple? Just because of the designation and the zoning?
No, according to McKenzie's memorandum, it doesn't change just based off the zoning. It changes if you change the use. So if you were to put residence there in the future, then the tax
Well, I
rate would
understand.
change because.
But at the meeting, that was what we were, the question, and Doug was brought to the table, and he said, you probably are right, I'm sorry. And that's the end of where it went.
I didn't read that line in Mackenzie's comment saying, there are no statutes, IRS rules, or regulations or local municipal rules or regulations that indicate that changing zoning will impact taxes. You can look at this if you would like.
Say would or would not.
It says that they would not impact taxes. But if you would put a building on,
We all understand that. It's like if you take 5 acres of ground, you're gonna be taxed very little, but if you divide it into building lots, your taxes dramatically change. And see, I'm just concerned about my 5 acres out there. I haven't divided, but it's U1 now, it's building lots. Am I gonna, is it in my
is that
lot?
what U1 means, building lots?
U1 is urban residential, single-family homes. Some, I mean, there's things that are allowed in there, churches, schools, parks.
Yeah.
I'd have to go to the whole list. I think you guys should have a copy of the zoning ordinance somewhere.
That's probably the biggest zoning we have in town, right? U1, probably the biggest part of everything.
Acreage-wise, probably. A lot of the downtown is zone B3.
But it has to be changed to be able to do it, right? I mean, to divide it up, because like our agriculture has to be over 3 acres in Lake County.
Well, and the city of Delphi doesn't recognize an agricultural zone. So it's,
But I mean, could he divide it up the way it is now? Individual lots?
I can't answer that question. I don't know, I'd have to do some research.
Yeah, you divide it along the lot size,
Yeah.
means a new thing, and you gotta have permission to do that. You just can't go do it. You have to have a hearing, you know, things for it.
But anytime you change the use of land, it can affect your taxes, depending on what you do to it, no matter what you do to it. If you keep it static, it normally doesn't, but anytime you change, you know, if you divide it into 1 acre building lots, you know it's gonna be more. That's
Oh, I
just the
understand
way
that,
it's assessed, you know.
I'm just wondering how many people on this list understand that there's possibilities of taxes may change.
No, we just said they wouldn't change.
As long as they don't do anything
Yeah,
different.
as long as they don't do anything.
Don't change,
You
it's
know,
a
that's-
legal thing.
That's
In the letter, I believe we got, I don't know how we got it, maybe all of them did, but in a letter from the lawyer that we got, Mr. Colson, grandfathered in, would be grandfathered into the farm, where he wouldn't have to worry about tax renting his acreage out.
No, he'd be considered legally non-conforming. He wouldn't have to worry about cash renting that acreage out.
And he'd be grandfathered in. But what happens, I'm just asking the question, what happens if something happens, Mr. Colson and Mr. Ayers who own the property, and then their heirs inherit it? Does that still stay grandfathered in, or does that change? Or will you later on have to change that?
Depending on the usage. If the usage doesn't change, it shouldn't change.
Yeah, I don't think our zoning ordinance says anything about transfer of property. So if it's legally non-conforming for Mr. Corson, nothing changes in terms of land use. Any areas or designees that he has should accept it as legally non-conforming.
So it follows the property, not the person.
That's according to Article 5, Section 3 of our zoning ordinance, that's what it appears to say.
Yes, I believe you're correct on that, Mayor. But if it's changed, if he decides not to cash rent for a 6-month period, it goes back to what it is. Right? No different than me having an apartment house and decide to put a single-family unit back in there. I can't make an apartment house again without going through the rules again. Yeah.
Change of use.
Yeah, because you
Everything's
changed
a
it.
change of use.
And you get a 6-month time period, with counting 6-month time period of figures of change.
I'm pretty sure ours is 6 months as well. Yeah, 6 consecutive months.
Because if you have a business in a residential area and it's vacant for 6 months, it becomes residential again. You have to go back through and change it.
If you had a special exception or variance.
No,
Or
if you
if you're
just
just non-conforming.
non-conforming use, you have a business's house over here, it's zoned residential. The house is unoccupied for a business for 6 months. It goes back to statute where it's supposed to be, you want or wherever, you have to start over again, because a lot of people couldn't do that.
if the land, as long as we own it, remains for agricultural purposes, and if you adopt the resolution, it becomes legally non-conforming, is it?
Yes, sir.
Legally non-conforming. Is that legal non-conforming status forever? I mean, as long as the...
So long as the land use doesn't change,
I understand that.
then yes.
Yeah, okay. Or until the council of the future does something different.
Even then, they probably wouldn't be able to because it still reverts back if you're using it legally at the time that they change it.
Okay.
I believe you're allowed to continue using it until you use it in another fashion. Is there any further discussion
Thank you.
on? Oh, thank you, Mr. Corson. Any further discussion on resolution 2017-7? Is there a motion to pass resolution 2017-7?
I'll make a motion to pass resolution 2017-7 as written.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. If I could offer up, I'll change the dates of when it was passed to reflect September 5th. Any further discussion regarding resolution 2017-7? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Oh, sorry, was that a yes or no?
No.
Okay. Sorry about that, Mike. Motion carries 4-1. I will get this to the Area Plan Commission. At this point, we'll get the recommendations to the Area Plan Commission. The Area Plan Commission will take those under advisement. They will then take and make recommendations back to the City of Delphi. For this to finally pass, the City of Delphi will have to pass an ordinance which amends the zoning map. So we still have a little bit of a process left. Could be possible to have it done at the October 2nd meeting if everything runs smoothly. We'll move next to proposed ordinance 2017-11, read by title alone, an ordinance authorizing establishing a bureau in the office of the clerk treasurer and establishing wedding solemnization service charges to be known as the wedding solemnization ordinance pursuant to Indiana Code 3613 et sec and other relevant statutes. You've been presented with a memorandum from the city attorney regarding the fees from other government units. After reviewing these documents, are there any amendments to be made to this proposed ordinance? Is there any discussion on this proposed ordinance? City Attorney Martin came down with the flu today and had to go home. That's why she's not here at our meeting.
Well, if there's people that, or there's clerks that don't do it, why do we do it if she doesn't enjoy it? How do you get out
Boy,
of it?
some I do.
Obviously, some people get out of it. That was my
There's
thought,
some I
wasn't too
do, Brian, but there's probably a lot of times I shouldn't be doing it.
But you said you were not going to do it anymore.
No, I'm not going to.
Okay, you're
I'm
not going to do it anymore.
So that was my question, if there are city clerks in that paper we got, some of them do, and some of them don't, some of them charge this, some of them charge that. So it must not be legally binding that you have to.
No, you
No.
may. As soon as I knew.
I think it's just a service I feel like we should offer. But,
You won't be the clerk forever. so.
that's right. But if Mr. Wellnuts, or Wellnuts, God, I'm gonna do that forever. I'm getting red, aren't I? I was gonna make sure I didn't do that tonight. If he wants to do it for free, that really solves everything.
And so I think the ordinance is a moot point. I think we've spent way too much effort on it already with research, with expense to the attorney, with time expended for us. It's a moot point. It
Well,
seems to me.
I don't think it's been, let me clarify this a little bit. I think it's a service that this office offers, and it's, in most cases, it's local residents that we're taking care of. Very seldom do we have someone come in from outside of our county to us. So it's a service. The other point of view that I looked at it is every year we try to have a Christmas party. And finding funds for that Christmas party is extremely difficult. Number one, we can't take it from our taxpayers' money, and we shouldn't. We can't constantly ask vendors to support us. There have been times certain individuals have paid for things for the Christmas party that shouldn't be expected. But our employees, I think, once a year deserve a Christmas party. I don't think it's that much to ask. One solution to that would be if you simply charge these fees, then that money goes into an account, and when it comes time to do that, the funds are there to provide for our employees to have a Christmas party. That was how it originally came up, with the thought that other communities were doing that. So, I don't think it's
It's gonna take a lot of $18 to make a Christmas party.
You would be surprised how many times. There have been weeks that 5 or 6 times I can be interrupted to be doing a wedding. You might go for a couple weeks and do none. You might do one a week, but,
But the other thing is Judge Wellness isn't here every day. So people come in and expect to be married, want to be married right away. You know?
Well, then they just
You know?
they don't have that
But his
luxury.
he's made his cell phone number available also. In looking at the figures though, the figures that we got when this first came up of well over him doing well over 100 or combination, that's not accurate. Out of the 200 and I think 60 some the marriage license that have been issued in Carroll County over the last 2 years, Leanne's married 5 or 6, and Judge Wellness has married less than 40. So, I mean, we're not talking.
I used to do them all practically. David Weckerly occasionally would do one, but he preferred not to. And when the judge started, he really wanted to do them, so unless he forgets,
Well, I
he has
noticed-
a couple times.
And the, 8 or 10 that were on there, on the list, that, how they done it. I think there was 2 that charged, and I think about 7 out of maybe the 10 that were there, the judges performed the marriages. You know, and they didn't charge for it. So,
And I
mean,
talked to-
that was what I got out of the copy that you give me, Mr. Mayor. I don't know why.
I spoke to Judge Wellness again today regarding this, and he said that it didn't affect, this ordinance does not affect him because he will continue to marry people. And he said, always they say, what do I owe you? And he said that he doesn't charge. And so he said they don't come knowing that he does it for free. I mean, maybe they might think that he might, but he says everybody always asks, what do I owe you? Prepare